Welcome to the second and last Planet Zoo video for at least 3 weeks. I literally only pre-recorded 2 videos because the day I wanted to record more, my internet died and I couldn't play the game because it's a sort of always online kind of game. Especially, well, the mode I was playing isn't always online because there's an online market. So if I was online, I literally couldn't play it because I couldn't connect to the online part of it, blah blah blah. Planet Zoo will have 4 game modes on release. Career, franchise mode, which is what I'm playing now, an offline franchise mode, which is pretty much just challenge mode where you build a zoo but there's money involved, and then sandbox, which is Planet Zoo without money being involved, and you just build and buy and buy and build. This is rocks. Lots of rocks. I want to kind of go for a more natural looking shelter for the Formosan black bears instead of well, a wooden shelter or a concrete shelter. Technically it's a concrete shelter, but it looks like, I guess, a mountain with a waterfall. That's what I was going for anyway, and I think it pretty much worked out. The inside, I never got around, in this video at least, to fixing that. I wanted to do it, but my internet died when I really wanted to finish like this zoo. This was actually built before the rhinos, but because there's literally so many more plants involved in this habitat, I liked this habitat more than the rhino one. So I kind of wanted to wait with making this video until after the rhino one was finished. Quickie Baby actually asked if this was a micromanaging or a big management game, as in, do I literally manage an entire city or just a small part of a zoo and micromanage every single animal? This is a micromanage game. In City Skyline, for example, you make zones, and those zones build industry, commercial, or residential areas. You build the micromanagement in that is parks, police, and medical, and the fire department, and public transport. In this, you cannot just build a habitat and it will fill itself up. You have to literally build to the animals' requirements. So the amount of foliage, the amount of water they want. Some animals want to be able to climb on stuff, like the primates, like the mandrills and the lemurs in this case, and the beta. You're micromanaging a lot more than you are in City Skyline. So this is a zoo builder, but pretty much everything you build, you have to build yourself. So I'm not laying down paths and then the zoo will build itself, technically kind of like City Skylines does, because I build it into a zone. Everything I build myself, and every single animal has its different needs. Every single animal wants a thing. Every animal has its own gene pool, has its own personality. This is definitely micromanagement. Even the waterfall I am building myself, sort of. There's these special effects, boxes, I guess, what they are, which give, in Planet Zoo at least, the ability to make a waterfall. In Planet Coaster that wasn't really the case, because I guess they were more focused on, look at the more special effects like fireworks, for example, or smoke bombs, or explosions, because that is what might happen during a roller coaster ride. You don't really want to see an explosion in a zoo. But what you might see in a zoo is a waterfall. Stuff like that. So one of the other reasons why I want to place as many plants as I can is to make the habitat... I'm not placing them yet, I'm still placing rocks. Many rocks. But I want to place as many plants to make the habitat look green. Formosan black bears live on Taiwan, and they like snow as well. Personally, I'm not that big of a fan of snow habitats. Snow habitats always look so muddy, and I don't like muddy. Like, mud with snow is kind of like gross slush on the ground, and I don't like that. In my zoo, when I have the full game, I probably won't get any animals that need snow. Just, I don't like what the habitats look like. But the Formosan black bears do like a lot of foliage, a lot of plants, and they don't necessarily need snow. And because the beta was placed in sort of a savanna biome, it was very dry. The ground was very dry. The grass was yellowish green instead of luscious green. So I can place plants like the bracken plant that you'll see a lot later on, That's really green. And with that, I wanted to make the habitat look really luscious. I like luscious. I like the word as well, luscious. But when I want to like play a game or build a game, I want to play the game in a jungle environment instead of a desert or a savanna. In a jungle, like, the ground is covered in like life with rocks and plants and green, and there's green everywhere. Everything looks alive. In a desert, it's just so empty. During a different zoo that I built offline, I didn't stream it either, I had a Gemsbok enclosure. And of course, they live in the desert. They don't like a lot of plants. And as much as I wanted to like make that habitat look alive, I couldn't, because it was sand and a couple of palm trees and rocks. So I had to use rocks to make it look alive. But it's difficult. It's really difficult. So the grizzly bear, the Formosan black bear, and I'm pretty sure the Himalayan brown bear like lots of plants. And those were the habitats that I enjoyed making most, and I liked looking at them most. There's a picture here on screen of my grizzly habitat that I built in my offline zoo that I didn't stream building, or I'm gonna make videos of because I can't, because that zoo is gone forever because the beta is over. But look at that. That looks luscious. I love that word. I also have more fun making these habitats because I'm not just like, alright, make a dip in the ground for water, make a small shelter, place in the animals. They want a very small amount of plants. They want a little bit more rock in their habitat, a tiny bit more soil, and that's it. What can I do now? Maybe make the ground a bit more uneven, so like that kind of breaks up the flatness and the horizon of it all, but at the same time, like, that is it. I didn't really enjoy making it because it was just so short. When I'm making this took me 2 hours and like 10 minutes to make. Meticulously placing every single plant myself. And at the end of it, after 2 hours of placing plants and rocks, I looked at it and I loved the way it looked. I would see myself looking in that habitat and I think, nice. That's nice. When I went to the zoo not too long ago, there was an ostrich enclosure and a gorilla enclosure pretty close to each other. The ostrich enclosure, of course, was just this nothing. The ground was stomped, the shelter was simple. They had a bit of water, they had like a couple of feeding places, and that was it. Because ostriches are pretty, well, simple animals, I guess. They don't need a lot. Then you have the gorillas. They had trees, they had lots of green plants, they had rocks, they had shelter that we couldn't barely see because there were so many trees and plants in front of it. They had like their own paths that they made in between the plants from walking there so often that those plants just were pushed out of the way or trampled. That looked like something lived there instead of, wow, this is just a really big circle of dead grass with a big bird in the middle of it all. And I mean, I enjoy like just seeing alive things, right? I've said it, I'm literally repeating myself now. I enjoy seeing that more. So even though it took me 2 hours and somewhat minutes to place all these plants and all these rocks in the trees, the outcome of it is, in my opinion, worth it. Now there's another thing that I didn't realize while playing this game in the beta. Animals do have babies. That's how we keep having animals, and other people keep having little baby children. But animals don't really care if that woman animal that they're reproducing animals with is their daughter, so to say. So you can have all these animals in this one enclosure, and they will have babies, and their babies will have babies, and their babies will have babies. That's the general idea of it, so you don't have to constantly spend money on new animals, because if you have to do that, you're doing not a good job at running your zoo. But like I said, families kind of keep it within the family, so to say. So what you kind of have to do is you have to make a nice looking enclosure for the main animals. And then you have to make a separate smaller enclosure away from the people, I guess, that either you can use to keep males and females separated, or have all the animals in your main enclosure on anticonceptives and the pill so they don't get babies or don't get pregnant, and then move them into the other enclosure and make that the Boom Chicka Wow Wow enclosure, pretty much, where they can do whatever I want and get all the babies that they want, just so you can keep the bloodline separated, I guess. Not pure. If you keep it pure, that's wrong. That's how you get Game of Thrones levels of, yeah. Or Habsburg. Don't Habsburg your animals. That's bad. If you don't know who the Habsburgs are, just Google it. You'll see a guy with the biggest lower jaw imaginable that couldn't really talk anymore because he was that. Yeah. And that's where more micromanaging comes in. This is where you want to keep your family trees in normal family tree shape, so it doesn't become a circle because everyone's mother is also their brother and cousin. Jesus. Every so often you need to get a new animal for new blood, right? To get new genes into the gene pool. Because if you have 2 males and 2 females, eventually they will all become family of each other. So you need another male to bring in new blood, bring in new genes, bring in new everything. Otherwise, your animals will have terrible immunity against diseases. They will get sick more often. They will live shorter. Their fertility will go down as well. So if they do get pregnant, it's far and in between. So this is where suddenly the micromanaging gets really difficult. If you, like I said last video, I believe, if you have 6, 7, 8 species of animals that all have babies constantly, suddenly you cannot build more habitats and get more animals because you're so busy with the animals you already have. And now for something completely different for a bit. Of course, it's October, Halloween is coming up. Saturday, I am hoping to stream a haunted house. A part of it, at least. I'm helping organize this haunted house. And it's hopefully there's going to be lots of people. We don't know yet. Hopefully, there has been lots of advertising in the area, so hopefully they will show up. But I'm looking to see if I can stream a part of it where I am standing. This will happen on the 26th of October from 7 p.m. until 11 p.m. Central European Summer Time, so Amsterdam time pretty much. There will be test streams, hopefully, to test if everything works this week. I'm excited to do it. I'm excited for that evening. I'm hoping the stream will run well, but there are a couple of things. I will not be interacting with the stream at all. I'm too busy, hopefully scaring people. If they show up, please show up. So I will not be interacting with chat. I maybe every so often look into the camera with my pig face, but that's it. I cannot guarantee it will be 100% smooth. I cannot guarantee you will see a lot because, of course, it has to be dark. So that's kind of a thing. That's hopefully happening. I mean, the evening itself will be happening. It's more of the stream. Hopefully will work. Anyway, it is time for us to release our other black bear into his habitat and see how they like it. Again, beta footage. It's a bit laggy at times, but I'm excited for this game still. I'm really excited. I cannot wait to just build. So, seeing as the bait's already finished and I let this zoo run for a while, I have a couple of things to announce about my bears. They both died without having gotten any babies. The end. Then I bought 2 new black bears, who, as far as I could tell, did not have any babies before my internet died and I couldn't see what happened to them. So, on that sad note, I will be hopefully seeing you Saturday? Well, I won't be seeing you, but you'll be seeing me in a pig mask, hopefully. Okay, bye now.